The city of Varenthia had not known peace for over a decade, its skyline a jagged silhouette against the blood-red sunset. But it was the night of the annual gala that would mark the return of its most infamous hero, Lucas Wren. With the scent of expensive perfume and fresh-cut flowers wafting through the air, the elite were gathered in the grand ballroom of the Aurora Hotel, unaware that the man who once single-handedly saved their city from a disastrous fate was lurking just outside. Lucas had been lost to them for years, a ghost in the annals of Varenthia's troubled history. Once the city's beacon of hope, he had vanished after a fateful encounter with the nefarious Dr. Void, a villain whose ambitions had been as dark as his name suggested. Lucas's fall from glory was swift. The hero who had once been celebrated was now a subject of tired bar stories and half-hearted laughs. But tonight, he would reclaim his narrative, even if it meant confronting the demons he'd buried deep. Dressed in a tailored suit that hugged his lean frame, Lucas's heart raced as he adjusted his tie in the reflection of a nearby storefront window. The image staring back was a stranger. His tousled hair, once the color of burnished gold, was now flecked with silver. His youthful face had weathered the storm of loss into something rugged and determined. "Just walk in, grab a drink, and blend in like the rest of them," he muttered under his breath, a pep talk that sounded more like a desperate plea. A few deep breaths settled him, and he stepped through the hotel's double doors, the dazzling lights casting an artificial glow on the marble floors. Inside, the ballroom was a swirl of silk and laughter. A string quartet serenaded the guests, their melodies threading through the chatter like an old friend's warm embrace. Lucas scanned the crowd, searching for familiar faces among the throng of polished aristocrats and masked socialites. It was a cacophony of wealth, yet he felt like an intruder, an outsider peeking through the window of a life he had once owned. "Lucas, is that really you?" A voice, sharp and high, cut through the noise like glass shattering. He turned to see Allara, the former mayor and a fierce advocate for justice, her face lighting up with recognition. She approached him, arms outstretched. "You disappeared. We thought—" "I know," he interrupted, the weight of his absence heavy between them. "I thought I'd never come back. Not after what happened." She studied him, her expression softening. "The city needs you again. Dr. Void is back, and this time he's got an army." Lucas's heart sank. He had hoped to find solace in anonymity, but the truth hung in the air like smoke. "How bad is it?" "Worse than you can imagine. He's terrorizing the neighborhoods, demanding tribute from everyone. It's chaos out there," she said, her voice dropping to a whisper, as if the walls had ears. "We need your help, Lucas. You're our only chance." The room felt like it was closing in on him. Images of his last battle, the flash of energy and the sound of betrayal, clawed at his mind. But beneath it all, a flicker of resolve ignited. This city had given him everything and had taken everything in return. If he could rise from the ashes, then perhaps Varenthia could too. "I'll do it," Lucas said, surprising even himself, "but I need a plan." As the gala continued, Lucas and Allara huddled in a dimly lit corner, plotting their approach. They gathered intel, forging connections with old allies and stirring the whispers of the crowd. Lucas was surprised by the warmth of the city's remnants, the heroes he had fought alongside, the citizens who still remembered him fondly. Hope ignited in his chest like a wildfire. Days turned into a whirlwind of strategizing and recon as Lucas reestablished his ties to the city he once protected. He donned an old costume, a patchwork of memories, with faded colors and fraying edges, but it still felt like home. Yet, as he prepared for the impending confrontation with Dr. Void, a familiar sense of doubt crept in. "What if I'm not the hero I used to be?" he confessed to Allara one evening, his voice thick with vulnerability. "What if I fail them all again?" Allara placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder, her gaze steadfast. "You're not just the hero of the past, Lucas. You're the hope for the future. They believe in you, and that counts for something." The day of reckoning arrived. Lucas stood atop the ruined skyscraper that had once been the headquarters of the Varenthia Defense League, now a monument to his past glory and failures. Below him, the streets were alive with tension, a sea of faces waiting, hoping for a miracle. Allara stood beside him, flanked by a ragtag group of former sidekicks, all equally aware of the stakes. "Are we ready?" Lucas's voice was steady, a reminder of the hero he once was. For justice, they shouted in unison, a battle cry that resonated through the air like a thunderclap. As dusk settled, it was time to confront Dr. Void. They descended into the heart of the city, where chaos reigned. Dark figures loomed, shadows drawn tight against the flickering streetlights, and in the midst of it all stood Dr. Void, draped in a cloak that billowed like storm clouds. His eyes glinted with malice, a smirk curling his lips. "Ah, the prodigal hero returns," he mocked, his voice a gravely whisper that slithered through the crowd. "I thought you were dead, Lucas Wren." "Just taking a long vacation," Lucas replied, his voice steady despite the tremors of doubt within him. "And now the fun begins." The battle erupted in a cacophony of energy blasts and shouts, the air thick with tension. Lucas fought with a ferocity that surprised even himself, fueled by the city's heartbeat and the memories of every life he had saved. He was no longer just a shadow, he was a beacon, channeling the strength of his past to protect the future. The fight was brutal. Lucas ducked and weaved, memories flooding back of battles long forgotten, every strike echoing his failures and triumphs. Yet with each clash, he felt rejuvenated. He was not alone. Allara and the others rallied beside him, their resolve bolstering his own. Together, they pushed back against the tide of darkness. In a final showdown, Lucas found himself face to face with Dr. Void, the air crackling with energy. They exchanged blows, power met with power, until Lucas's resolve burned brighter than ever. With a final surge, he harnessed every ounce of energy, every whisper of hope, and unleashed a torrent of light that engulfed Dr. Void, dispersing the darkness that had threatened to consume Varenthia. As the dust settled, the city stood still, a moment suspended in time. Lucas, panting, surveyed his surroundings. Laughter erupted from the crowd, a chorus of relief and jubilation. They cheered his name, and in that instant, he was no longer a forgotten tale. He was their savior once more. In the aftermath, Lucas stood in the center of the bustling street, surrounded by faces glowing with gratitude. Allara approached, her eyes shining with pride. "You did it. You really did it." He grinned, the weight of his past lifting. "I couldn't have done it without you." As the city began to rebuild, Lucas knew he had not only come back, he had returned transformed, a hero reborn amidst the ruins. And as the sun set over Varenthia, painting the sky in hues of gold and hope, he felt ready to embrace whatever the future held.